People, deluded, I'm back again. Yeah, man, there's no football, there's no nothing. I'm just going to get to the point in this vid. But I'm making it my mission to single-handedly save you guys and bring you some decent content. If you don't like it, if you find my voice, apologies, monotone, if you find me, if I'm not your cup of tea, then there's nothing I can do about that. But if you feel the kid, if you like my thing, if you're here for the first time and you're already liking what you're seeing, make sure you check out the other content. You know where it is. People, I'm back again. In relation to Arsenal, there's nothing really to speak about, really. And I'm really forcing this, but like I said, I feel compelled. But browsing the internet, there's some talking points, some nonsense, and it is what it is at this point. I'll let you lot decide. But let's just talk about football and, we're all being deprived of the drug we love, which is football, the one drug you should be taking. But moving forward, and now Arsenal have been linked, well, allegedly, I say linked. I saw a Brazilian publication and I transferred it into English via Google Translate. It was saying in a nutshell, I haven't got it all to hand, but in a nutshell, prior to going for Pablo Mari, we was after a guy called Walce. Forgive me for mispronunciation. He's a centre half. I've never seen him play in my life. I've looked at him online and tried to build a picture for you lot, but I've never seen him play in my life. Don't know about him. Just know he's a Brazilian under 23 and under 20 international. He's 6'2". He's a centre half. He's 21 years of age, playing for Sao Paulo. Now you can see why we might have legitimately been interested if there is some legs to this, for obvious reasons. I've said he's 21, so he's young. There's scope to develop. There's scope to grow. There's scope for potential resale value. Obviously, Brazil with Edu, with Real Sane's alleged contacts and Edu's previous role in Brazil. Not just Brazil, but it's been the flavour of the month for us. But we're trying to allegedly do our thing in South America. It's been good to us so far with Marie, with the coordinated effort from our scouting team to source Martinelli. So if this guy fell into some sort of radar, or scouts were recommending him, or he fell into some, someone had something good to say about him, then you could see why he's been linked with us. Apparently he had an injury which put that one to bed and made Arsenal's a potential move to Arsenal not a thing anymore. So maybe we did go for him first choice, because that's what the article said. He was our first choice target, but we didn't get him. Again, I'm not going to entertain that. I think, we wanted a left-sided centre-half. I think Marie ticked all the boxes, but we could have went in for this guy. We could have wanted both, and we might still be monitoring his progress. Now, I don't know how good or bad he is, people. He's only played a handful of times, if that, for Sao Paulo. I saw 3-4 appearances on Transfermarkt. I could be wrong. So if you know more about this player, or he's got some YouTube compilations that I'm going to check out, or I might download a free trial on WeScout and try and pre him again. But I don't know too much about him. But the article said the bulk of the most interesting bit I took from it said we had a proposal from another club which we denied. Here I think I can even say that we had a conversation with Arsenal exactly for the vacancy that was for Pablo Mari. We were talking to Edu Gaspar. He, Walce, the centre-half, or was, ended up getting hurt, which happens. We need to be prepared for that. So he could have been making a move. Edu might have been fielding conversations, and it didn't happen because of his injury. If there is legs to this, I could only assume Arsenal are going to continue to monitor his progress and development of things, because I personally believe we need a centre-half. Whether we need any position in the immediate short-term sort of thing, we should always be scouting players that we can source and, trying to get the upper hand on other people and do what we need to do as a club. Keeping up with centre-halves, and ironically another Brazilian centre-half that's always been linked with Arsenal. Apparently Leicester and Everton have made offers for Lille's centre-back Gabriel. We know apparently he's destined to leave Lille. Apparently they only want 30 million euros. Apparently Arsenal are of interest. Why we're not moving for him, I don't know. We just have to entertain these rumours. It is what it is. There's many footballers in this world. I'd love a centre-half of any sorts, really and truly, with you people. Moving away from that, and Rio Ferdinand spoken very highly of Martinelli. I believe he's named his top 5 under-21 footballers in the Premier League. And I think in no order, he had Martinelli, he had Greenwood, he had Trent, he had Reece James, and I've been doing so well, I cannot remember the rest. I believe it was Phil Foden, in no particular order. Rio, you done me well with Martinelli, but, you know, where's Saka? Where's Bukayo Saka? Obviously, no disrespect to any of them young players because they're all talented. I mean, he could have even said Billy Gilmore and things like that, but he didn't. But he said in relation to Martinelli, I watched him against Bournemouth away. Jesus, the way this boy played, he's a proper player. I think he's going to be a major player in world football in years to come. 18 years of age, doing what he's doing. The goal against Chelsea alone. Normally your legs are gone by then. You've got no juice in the legs. He's got the composure to slot it. But his awareness of the way he plays, the way he moves on the pitch, his intelligence to receive the ball, the positions he takes up. He comes inside at the right times, asking the opposing fullbacks questions. It's mad. He's a mature player for such a young kid. And he's, you know, what more can you expand on that? I mean, Martinelli's got a long way to go. We need to recognise he's a young player. He's going to have bad games. We need to not get caught on the player we believe he can be tomorrow, because I believe he could be a superstar. Like, him and Bukayo Saka are the one players, and Aubameyang, like, I'll be livid if they actually leave Arsenal. He's got the world at his feet. He's got all the potential in the world, and most importantly, he recognises he's got a long way to go as well. So I believe he'll reach his potential, and he'll be I believe he's got world-class potential. I try not to throw that thing around, but I genuinely believe Martinelli can be a world-class player if he develops. And he's got a long way to go, and like I said, he knows that. But it's nice for other people to recognise that, because, you know, people always say Arsenal overhype players, like everybody does. And we've actually got a baller that's Martinelli, and it shows how funny football is, because right now Martinelli's flavour of the month, and every scout can tell you he's amazing, and they clearly knew he had ability because he trialled at United or Barca. And it's not a dig at them clubs either, but it's like, I just find it funny, like, they were right, he was right under your nose, like, who else was you looking at, sort of thing. And that's Arsenal have been in that situation, as has a lot of clubs. At root, football's a funny old game of opinions, people. It is what it is, and, you know, we'll win some. Arsenal, we've lost a lot, so it's nice to see we won one with Martinelli. And yeah, he's a terrific player, man, and I see no reason he can't start getting capped for Brazil. He can't be a regular for Arsenal. He can't do all of these things if he continues to work hard. Now, he's still young, and I do believe in the follow. I've said this statement before, but his comments have surfaced, and he is young, and a lot of this could be naivety. As you get older, things change. I've seen many a player say they want to do this and that at Arsenal, and when other teams come, you know, I can't begrudge you. Especially as I was growing up, man, it's deep, because I went from primary school Arsenal bullying and fighting United and stuff to seeing best players go to Barca in these clubs week in, week out, and the many mad scorelines Arsenal fans have taken. Yeah, man, I don't want to get into that about heavy defeats and stuff. Let's stay on a positive note, people. But Martinelli said, I want to win the Champions League and lots of domestic titles to make Arsenal fans happy. As you get older, that might, you know, you still want to make fans happy, but that sentence might shorten to, I want to win the Champions League. They deserve the best, not only the supporters, but all the club staff. And it's lovely gratitude from him, because, again, you can clearly see he's from a humble background, his family and things, and he takes things in his stride, much like Bukayo Saka. But he recognized, but many people, many young, I say it, but it don't really happen too tough nowadays, but many young players could believe their own hype, think they're better than everyone. You get the vibe that he genuinely cares about his teammates and staff, and he treats everybody with the same gratitude. And, you know, for all the maturity on the field, it's important you have it off it, and it's how you treat yourself. He genuinely looks like he's in love with becoming a better footballer, which is funny to say. It's like any job or any skill. Obviously footballers get a lot of time, but if you're putting in the minimum, like you're going training and you're going yard, or you're doing the gym work you're required, are you going to be the best footballer you're going to be? Are you going to look back in your career and think there was more I could have given? Or are you going to, you know, not only give your all in training, which, if I'm sure, like many people in jobs, do you give 100% at every moment? You know, it'd be naive to say you do. But if you do that, if you do the extra work, and I know I'm not saying he's going to be Ronaldo, Cristiano, but he uses him as a reference point. Forget as great as Ronaldo is, he's insanely in love with improving himself, looking after his body, and, you know, how can he consistently evolve as a person and as a player. That's the sort of stuff he's got to take, people. I want to win the Champions League as well, Martinelli, man, but we need to qualify first, my guy. And he said, I'd like to give back to the club after everything they've done for me so far, and as a result, become an Arsenal legend. I hope you become an Arsenal legend as well. I hope you stay here, man, because you're 18 or so now. I hope you're here at 28 when you're in your prime and you're a superstar player, but I'm not naive to believe you're going to stay here for 10 plus years, people. I just hope that we really get to see the best out of Martinelli, personally. I hope we get to see him as a true kind of, if not finished article, kind of becoming that sort of thing, becoming a super player, man. I really think he could be the closest thing we've got to Alexis, especially, you know, when Alexis went false nine or an out-and-out striker that year, man. But yeah, man, it's hard not to be excited about Gabriel Martinelli, really, and Bukayo Saka, man. I mean, what can I say? You've been watching Arsenal. I mean, he's not been in the lineup too tough recently, but it is what it is, people. Now, I believe, I haven't seen this whole article, and I'm big on giving people credit, but I believe Arsenal blog, you know, I think they got a podcast and a lot of stuff. They're quite a big platform. They do their thing. I think they've got an exclusive interview with Cesc Fàbregas for their people that are part of a certain membership of their thing. But some stuff has surfaced, so make sure you go and check out their thing and pay for their thing and support that platform and do what you got to do with that. But from what I've seen, Cesc Fàbregas has been, it's more of the same, but he's speaking about Arsenal. He said, on leaving Arsenal, the only thing that kills me now is that I had to be pushy. Sorry, people. The only thing that kills me now is that I had to be so pushy to Arsene. The guy gave me absolutely everything. I owe everything to him. And it's true, man. At the end of the day, it's about, you owe people stuff, but you owe people nothing. At the same time, it was Wenger chose to play him. For Cesc, obviously Cesc did well and whatnot to you know, repay his trust and become a great footballer and stuff. But at the end of the day, Wenger took it upon himself to play there. Cesc Fàbregas developed and stuff. Obviously, we still needed Cesc. But at the end of the day, he's his own human with his own agendas and he wants to write his own story. He owes Wenger everything, but at the same time in life, like you see, he owes Wenger nothing. And it's not really a bad thing, and you know, you can't begrudge Cesc Fàbregas for leaving to join Barca. The way he kind of left allegedly leaves a sour taste, but he had to be allegedly pushy and things and whatnot. I do think he acted with integrity. I think he done a lot for this club. I loved having him at this club, but it is what it is. Personally, I think he might come back as a coach one day, but that's just me. He said, asked to leave after the World Cup in 2010. Arsene, told me absolutely not. It's impossible. He said if the next season would be the same, then he would look into it. So it is what it is. I don't need to expand too more on that paragraph. Alleged in the bit I took from this is, you know, there was big talk of first option in relation to when Barca wanted to sell him. You heard Wenger come out and say he thinks the Chelsea thing was done before he had a chance. You've heard Cesc offer his thoughts. You've heard other people offer their thoughts. Apparently we passed on it, you know. Common belief is because we had Ozil and Santi and Ramsey and Wilshere and all these centre sort of creative technical midfielders at the time. Apparently Wenger didn't want to add more because he couldn't play them all, whether rightly or wrongly, if that's true or not. That's what was said at the time. But he said on this, he said, Arsenal will have the first option and I cannot speak to any other clubs for 1 week until Arsenal make the decision if they want it or not. Arsenal were my first option. In my mind, I'm telling everyone I'm going back to Arsenal. Now, again, did we put an offer? Because if we put an offer and the player wants to come and we've got first option, then, you know, it should be done. It leads me to believe the offer never came personally. That's what I believe. We never went for him in the first place. But I don't know that to be true. I don't know anything of that. Because, you know, if he wanted to make the move, it is what it is. But everything works out, you know, as much as it hurts to say as an Arsenal fan, it worked out for the better because Cesc Fàbregas is one of, you know, in recent years, one of the best players to have played in the Premier League. And to have the Premier League, in fact, correct me if I'm wrong, 2 Premier League trophies under his belt. Obviously, it would have been lovely if he'd done it at Arsenal, but it is what it is in that regards. He's won a couple of trophies in England, and he's been a success. He was a success at Chelsea, and he did his thing. And obviously, it didn't work out towards the end, but he can look back in England and say he had a good career. Barcelona didn't really work well. I don't believe when people say it didn't work out, but people say it didn't really work out purely because I suppose he didn't get to be the heir to Xavi or Iniesta or be in that midfield alongside Busquets and be a mantelpiece, be that prodigal son that returns home to Barca. I don't think it's fair to say it's a failure because he won trophies there. You know, he represented the club. It didn't work out towards the end, but I wouldn't say he was a flop there at all by any stretch of the imagination. Started playing false nine at times, if I remember correctly, but yeah, man, it's what it is, man. for me, as long as if I was Cesc, I just wouldn't want to look back with any regret. Sure, I could have stayed at Arsenal longer, rejected Chelsea, forced my way to stay at Barca, not accepted that. Left Barcelona, not joined Barcelona in general again. But you look back at your career. You took the jump to play for Arsenal, to leave your boyhood club. You took the jump from Arsenal, whether I agree with it or not. Just someone that wants to evolve themselves and that selflessness to go to Barcelona. Barca kind of forced you out, and Arsenal and Chelsea were, whether it's neither here nor there. All the rivalry, all that stuff, all when you was fighting John Terry and stuff, you put it to the side to join our rivals. It is what it is. And to be fair, you have always got the vibe from Cesc Fàbregas that he would die to win, to be fair with you. Finally, he said, I played for Arsenal with a fever, I played for Arsenal with a broken leg, I played for Arsenal when my granddad died, I gave everything for that club, and I'll do it all over again. So again, we'll always have a special place in his heart, but again, you've got to kind of be selfless in what you want out of life, people, because again, if he stayed at Arsenal his whole career, he might have still went to this, well, he probably, Cesc was a baller here. He would have went to the World Cup and all them things regardless if he stayed at Arsenal. But would he have won these trophies? Would he have, did these things? He wouldn't. And it's lovely for me to sit as a fan and say, I would have loved if he stayed, it would have been amazing and things. It would have. But what would have happened? By the time he's of his age now, we would be looking at him like, boy, maybe he still would be in this midfield, but we might be looking at him like, boy, his legs are gone, blah, blah, blah. We'll give him a testimonial. We'll give him a pat on the back. We'll give him a handshake. We'll give him a clap. We'll recognise him and hail him up. But when your time comes, your time comes. And personally, I'm of the belief you need to retire, or when I say retire, I don't mean stop playing, but retire from things before they retire you. If I was a footballer, which sadly I'll never be, like you lot, before you just laugh at me, I would love to be one club man and all of them things, but I would like to get out of that situation where before it's, when you just need to call it a day. Like, like with them Fast and Furious films, it feels like there's always a movie. You just need to call it a day. I wouldn't want to be that 35-year-old just signing new deals for the sake of it. Do you get what I'm saying? Because this is my club, playing occasionally and accepting being a bit part player. I'd want to call it a day, either join a lower league or, the peace still got to be there, man. Got to get the wages, people. I'm not saying vacate the wages, but go somewhere where I'm more likely going to play and fight and things, because I wouldn't want to be here on the play thing, but I don't begrudge anyone. And you get that from Cesc. Like, he went to Monaco, whether he's forced out from Chelsea or not, it happened. So it is what it is in that regards. Petit finally has had something to say, and he has said in relation to Arteta, if you want Arteta to bring what Guardiola does at Arsenal, he needs personality as well as quality players. Now, I agree with that, but I don't know his context. I'm not saying Petit is getting at him, but I do agree with that. He does need a swagger about him. He does need a personality. It doesn't have to be what people conventionally think it has to be, but he does need personality. Clearly, he's got some personality because he's got multiple players on his side already. He's brought everybody into his way of thinking, and I think he's got the right temperament and things. He doesn't need to be a carbon copy of Pep Guardiola. I'm sure you've all watched the Amazon documentaries. I think Arteta's got it. What Arteta needs, away from the obvious as well as quality players, of course he needs charisma, but he needs conviction in his ideas. Obviously, you might look at Wenger and think he wasn't, you might laugh at how he fell off, but he had charisma about him. It maybe weren't like Jose, I'm the special one, but it was, I'm the professor. You see what I'm doing. You see who I'm improving. You see what I'm doing. Ferguson had it about him. Pep's got it in a different way. Klopp's got it in a different way. It's all about his DNAs, because I know there's a lot of similarities with Pep and Arteta, similar countrymen, similar ways of seeing football and whatnot. But he's his own man. He's got his own experiences and things, and he's got to put his own personality and spin on it. So I think he does. But moving on, Petit said, for me, the two main things Arteta wants to bring from Guardiola at Arsenal is applying pressure without the ball and to want to score goals. I fully agree with that, man, because you're seeing us fix up without the ball. We're not perfect. We need some better personnel. We need to, iron out stuff. But there's more of an intent on doing that. We're a bit more solid. We're a bit more, our IQ's a bit more there. Our game management definitely isn't perfect, but it's dramatically improved under former manager Unnamed Mari, which led to him getting the sack. Moving forward, he said, I don't believe he can do it with the quality of his players, especially midfield. Sadly, I agree somewhat. I do think he's improved us and stuff, but I do think he'll hit a glass ceiling clearly with these players like that he's got available to him. Not going to disrespect players and things and whatnot. But we have to call a spade, regardless of the form of some players, and we hope it continues. There's only so far Arteta can coach players. We need him to coach players. We need him to coach players we didn't think could have a future here. But you can't have all of that. Like, you look at our playing squad, realistically, it's a tough ask to get top 4, even if we didn't drop form. We can definitely play better than results have generally been all season. Things like that, don't get it twisted. But you clearly know there's some surgery that needs to be done in that Arsenal lineup, people. But in relation to this vid, we've spoken about Petit, we've touched on Cesc, obviously we've spoken about couples, centre-halves and whatnot. I believe I've overstayed my welcome. For those of you that have stayed with the guy, thank you very much for doing that. On that note, I'm going to get out of here. People, Deluded, I'm out. And before I get out of here, please vote for me to win the Football Content Awards. Voting finishes on the 31st of March. You know, the links are in the description for more details on that. Hopefully I get nominated. If not, we go again and we try and do this thing next year or next season, but whenever that is. But on that note, people, God bless, stay safe, stay indoors, stay home. Deluded, I'm out.